Greetings out there in YouTube land from the planet Earth. I put stuff up on another site I've been going to for a number of years, way before I started just popping in on YouTube, where the Lord had me starting to write stuff. I ran into some really good people on there, and so I've been invited to several countries to visit them. So after the new year, after my 1 year anniversary, when Jesus healed me on March 12th, I'm pretty sure I'll have everything in place to travel the planet again. So I'll be visiting a lot of countries, Who knows, I might pop into yours one day. I lay hands for Jesus, and everyone I've laid hands on is healed. But then others are doing it as well. It just happens to be one of my callings that, laugh if you will, I stopped doing it just a little over 12 years ago. And on March 9th was 12 years. Okay? And so on the 12th, he healed me. So 12 years and 3 days, and that's give or take a couple of days, probably right on the money, but when I stopped laying hands on people, because I ran into a false shepherd who really, the guy yelled at me in front of the people and everything, right? And definitely what I know now are lukewarm Christians, they'll bow down to the guy that they raised on the idol. I went through that years ago, so I stopped paying attention to all these guys that people are following right now. Because I went and try to help people get off drugs and stuff for a while, right? Had some successes, some failures, but a lot of successes. But they murdered this one drug dealer I got to stop dealing drugs, and his brother, who was also a drug dealer, ended up quitting drugs because his brother told him I'd made a difference in his life, right? Of course, his sister hated me, right? But what else is new, right? You can't win them all, right? Jesus had it harder than me. And I put some stuff up, and there's a couple of Christians out here. I'm not the only one on this site, right? They got some games and that. I play one there where they buy and sell people's profiles because a lot of them look, and I put stuff up in my status, right? And I use it to do post stuff from the Lord, and I got people thanking me for praying for them in the Philippines, like right here, because most people ignore them and all the stuff that heads in the Pacific. They're having really bad storms out there. I put up a video and nobody's even looked at it. They don't show a lot of my stuff to people. A lot of my subscribers don't get notifications when I put stuff up. I don't even show up on their sub list. When you look, I'm not even there, yet they're subbed to me. And these are the ones you can actually see on my page. I don't show up on theirs. There's a lot of others you can't see on my page because they don't show their subscriptions, right? I probably don't show up on theirs either, right? But I got people thanking me for praying for them. Just asking people to pray for them, right? And Allie, she's getting better with every song. Yes, she is, right? The anointed one, And I put up some other stuff too from other people, right? I do. It's not just me. But I like to change it up so I'm not writing all the time. Allie liked that one little rewrite I did of the song, and have others as well that considered it beautiful. I sometimes write poetry, but I've gone through a lot of changes, you see, but I'm getting likes here, right? And you got to remember Revelation 7:9. I was writing about it a lot, and God called me on it because I was looking at some, on my profile I had, like all kinds of music, but when it comes to rap, just put a C in front of it, and you know what I think, right? And I was doing a lot of preaching on Revelation 7:9. And so I'm going to click one thing to add it to my page that I liked. And all of a sudden some other thing comes up. I don't know if you've had that happen to you. It's happened to me a few times, right? Boom. And it just happened to be a really good Christian rap video. And I said, okay, Lord, I got the message. He has a real great sense of humor with me. And he calls me on some things. Like I love talking about Sergeant York, 1941, because it's a true story on how God changed a man big time in only 18 months, 1 year and 6 months, right? And I laugh about that. I was talking about a friend, so you know him, Daryl, about how much the Lord has changed me because he met me before when I had all these concussions and all that. The Lord actually sent me to a chat room to pull him out of there, right? Long story, but yeah, he'll tell it whenever he gets around to it. Anyway, everything I told him came to pass because it wasn't me telling him it was God, right? I wanted to just give him some information there, right? and they saw it all come to pass. And he's turned his life around big time. He's changed. His videos are so much better. It just realizing that God knows that what you're doing is paying attention, and some people forget that so often, right? And we have such a diverse family. When you look at Revelation 7:9, they're from everywhere, speaking every language, so they worship God in many different ways that maybe you or I might not. But the whole point is, it makes God happy. Why? Because they're there from everywhere around God, speaking, every tongue, every language there is, right? We are all God's children. Most don't realize it. And these man-made names and religions, they call them, are not of God. He made everyone. Most forget that, sadly. They discriminate. Oh, black lives matter, blue lives matter, pink lives matter. You name it, every lives matter. Well, all lives matter to God. And if you're thinking that you're right with God and you're discriminating against somebody because of the color of their skin, their nationality, what language they speak, you are so screwed. That's the only word that fits. You're going to ride the slide. Because you can't get along with somebody that's with that Lord there in Revelation 7:9, right? Because of where they're from or whatever. Forget about being there. Because it's a number no man can count. So who knows how many there are of each? Only God does. But the thing is, they're there around Jesus with white robes and palms in their hand, right? The word, right? God's been showing me so much. And before he healed me of my concussions, and that hurt, by the way. He did say it was going to hurt, and it did actually, right? But I'm afraid to go into my own memories because concussions can alter a person. And my first one was around grade 5, right? And I got hit in the left temple really hard by a brand new baseball, right? And we were, in the park with the school, right? And it was their last ball because 2 others had gone into a city greenhouse area, right? Barbed wire on the fence and all that, right? And boom, I was trying to steal second, and it hit me. It went straight up, like you think of an L, right? Boom, and the skin came down first, and then the inside of the ball. And I was out for way over 5 minutes. I was told later, and they yelled at me because that was the only ball that they had. That they had to stop playing ball with it. But nobody had called an ambulance back then. That was long ago, before they learned the danger of concussions, right? So, and I had a really bad headache for weeks. So I didn't know what was going on, right? And I had so many concussions over the course of my life that nobody's ever really known the real me since I was a child. And I was way smarter than all my teachers and everybody back then, right? And these concussions altered me and my life choices because, in a sense, I was a different person. So in a way, I'm scared to look at my own memories because each slightly modified personality of me had different perspectives and different interests. So I learned a lot of things in a lot of different fields of study and entertainment because I changed. So if our past makes up part of who we are today, and yes, it can help us in our walk with Jesus, especially because our past mistakes and all that and how we overcame them can encourage others. And that's the whole point of if I did it, you can do it too because others are doing it as well. Don't give up hope because Jesus came to give hope, right? And that's the whole point. Jesus came to give us hope. And there are so many out there that are discouraging others, causing division and derision among brothers and sisters. That's not what he's about. He's about loving each other. He said to love thy neighbor as thyself, to do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you want to get treated with respect, treat others with respect. I don't want to get robbed and murdered. Do you? I got robbed 58 times in 3 years, because I was helping drug people get off drugs and that, right? They were sacrificing animals alive, burning alive, you name it, making voodoo dolls of me, the whole 9 yards on top of that, right? Sending demons to my place, the whole 9 yards. I was standing there, and I had a crucifix around my neck, right? And all of a sudden, it got yanked so hard, I was standing there, and I did a face plant into the ground, beads everywhere, and I couldn't find the damn thing after, right? But boom, like, try to imagine you're on a train or whatever, bus or something, standing there, and all of a sudden it makes a sudden stop, and you're like thrown forward. Like I mean, something like actually grabbed you and physically hurled you to the floor. I'm lucky I didn't even break my nose, right? Seriously, that hard, right? Like my wife was there, and the one lady whose apartment we were in there, she wanted to smudge her place because she was a maid of it. Said there's some evil spirits there, and boom, face plant because I had that cross on, right? Rebuked the thing mightily, but don't you think that was a real eye opener? Because that was the last thing I was doing it. She started talking to Jesus, asking to clean the place, but still was doing that native smudging they do with the sweetgrass at the same time, right? I've had a couple of those events that are real eye openers, right? Even last year, a demon actually had me half. I was laying there, all of a sudden my arms being grabbed and pulled, and half of my body is off the bed, and if, like from the butt to my down to my toes is still on the bed, and I'm up in the air with my arm being held there, and my cat, Little C, jumped on my chest and started hissing and scratching at the demon until, and this went on for a minute until it let me go. But you're not awake, you can't really thinking sometimes on what to do right away. You catch that moment off guard. And he came to my rescue there, and it let go like a teeter totter. I suddenly went down, right? And I had to move my arm really quick just to catch myself so I didn't hit my head on the floor, right? So he's my little hero, right? There's spiritual battles going on, but some things can be manifest here in the flesh. And it tells you this in the Bible. There's so much wonder and beauty and diversity in the Bible. Yet these hirelings deny you the truth and the wisdom. They used to sing the Bible, and if you hear it being sung, oh, it opens your eyes to true marvels when you realize it. And all you're hearing is pretty much dry bones. And Jesus speaks about breathing life into the dry bones, right? It wasn't just the psalms that were sung, but when you go to these buildings of men, do you hear them sung? No. But it says to the chief musician, you're only getting part, the beauty of it. And when you listen to it, then you realize it's more of a love story written for you, from God who loves you so much. Even though there's not a righteous person on the planet right now, he's still healing people every day, all over the planet. He's talking to people every day, all over the planet. I soon will be traveling, like many others out there, and laying hands for Jesus. There are many doing it. This is one guy in Denmark. He travels around. Apparently, he was here in Canada for a little bit up in Montreal. But I saw him when he did a video down in Brazil and that. And he's having a great old time. I got him in my playlist number 2. Him. Then down in Windsor, Doug Collins. I went to see him after I got healed. He got a really nice house, really big, and he got an electric car and everything, right? To see if he owes his own company. I mean, just a room in his basement where I think he could sit way over 50 people on the couches in that big theater room he's got down there. Watch the one movie, right? I mean, God wanted me to go down there. I didn't know why, and also within like just to see that, and then they were showing a movie, so I said, okay, no problem, right? And then within like the first minute and a half or so, the thing starting, boom, all the pieces fell into place, and I knew exactly what he wanted me to do. And he was like, he wanted me to get back to laying the hands, which I'd stopped doing about the whole length of time. They told me I was inoperable and I was going to die any day. It happened to be the same time just before that I stopped laying hands. So kind of I was like Job having my test and my tribulation. Okay? And we all have different tribulations and tests. God tests people every day. Some really minor, some major, to see what we do. Because everything is recorded when he's making the decision. And he made it definitely clear a few times, right? When I was talking about one thing, some people took it the wrong way, but it's meant for everybody. Those without compassion and mercy will get none from him. And he made that really clear, right? And when he had me try to tell people about the importance of reading the Bible for themselves, Jesus wants everybody to read it for themselves so bad, right? And he repeated twice, for my people die for the lack of knowledge. My people die for the lack of knowledge. And that's why Hebrews 5:11-14 is so important. Because God has so much to say, but nobody wants to hear it, right? And many are sitting in pews for so long they should have been teaching the word, but now they can't handle any meat. They are got to be retrained the basics from the oracles of God. And those on the milk of the word are unskilled in righteousness, right? And as babes, and a babe is useless to the Lord. For it's only those that are on the meat of the living word that can discern between good and evil, because they have use of their senses. Do you have use of your senses? Are you doing right by God? Many hold themselves back. They are their own enemies because part of them clings to sin. That part, the ones that keep backsliding say, well, because they're half-hearted or part-hearted. Take your choice of wording, right? But if 90% of your heart is for God, and the other 10% or less, or whatever the amount may be, it varies between people, is hanging on to the love of those sins, you're not really of God. You got a foot in both worlds. So people ask God for help to deal with these problems, and yet part of them doesn't want to give up these problems. And God can't do that if you don't want to let it go. God can only help you if you really want it help. If you really want to let it go and are sincere, He's there with you right away. He can take the urges away right away. He took the urges away from Craig, the former atheist that he laid hands on, right? And he's changed his life. And right now, he's not even smoking. He got some of them nicotine inhaler things because I gave him some I had. I didn't need them, right? And yeah, I've been smoking a little bit late. And the thing is, the next part is I can stop. But it gave me a good excuse to talk to a few people. They wanted a light or a smoke and that, right? I've had it help me in the past, and I don't recommend it for everybody. You shouldn't smoke at all, really. But it's not a sin biblically, but it is a sin to your body, and God is healing me big time, right? He can take those urges away. It doesn't matter if it's lustful thoughts, pornography. If you're willing to give it away to Him and ask Him, please, and be sincere from the heart, because God hears every prayer and praise from the heart. That's where people invite Him to live, but then they forget about Him and do the prayers from the head, right? And the head, easily confused, influenced by worldly things. A lot of people go to lukewarm chat rooms and that are supposed to be about God, but they talk about everything else. So they get their guard down, they get dragged down, they hear false teaching. Oh, a bunch of people going there, or they got a lot of subs, so they must know what they're talking about. The same thing of going to a hireling in a building. And Jesus, you didn't see Him in no building. He didn't say, go here, go there. He said, follow me. Follow Him, not the teachings of some men. You got divisions. Oh, they call them different names, but they all supposedly believe in the same God, and they're fighting and killing each other in some areas over the belief of it. Ireland was nightmare Protestant and Catholic going on, yet they all both claim to be believing in the same God. People are doing murder and all manner of abominations against each other as I speak, that all claim to believe in the same God. Right? Which God are they talking to? Or do they even talk to Him? Oh, we can't understand the mysteries of God, which is a lie, they tell people. Right? They bow down to idols. They just weep so much that God has just shown me so much. Right? Leviticus 26:30 says it all, right? God's going to tear down their images and cast down, in their high places, and cast your carcass on the carcass of your idols, and my soul shall abhor you. That's the Holy Spirit hating you. And there's so many idol worshippers. You look at Revelation 22:15. A lot of them are going to be the people. Well, they're going to be the people from Zechariah 14 verse 16 down, right? But there'll be others, as well, right? By saying this is them, they won't be able to enter, right? Well, those who are right with God can freely enter the holy city, right? Yet many of those who worship the idols, a lot of them are Catholic, because they, you have an image, anything that you put before God, right? You bow down to a picture, and then you bow down to anything. Oop, boom, it's an idol right away. Somebody worship football or sports heroes. They know every stat about somebody, but they know nothing about God. It's only by His love and mercy and grace that people are still here when Sodom and Gomorrah is everywhere you turn around, right? These are the days of Noah all over again. And God doesn't give two shits about what's politically correct. Word. Right? No ands, no buts. He don't care who thinks it's politically correct. What matters is what he thinks, and he thinks it's an abomination. And even though some states in the States voted against it, they force it upon them. And yet people are supposed to, oh yeah, accept it and they smile in the parades and everything. That's an abomination to God. As you watch statues and idols being put up to Satan all over America. Right? And you got a big idol of Ishtar, the goddess of loose morals and prostitution. Libertos, loose morals. In a country that produces over 90% of the world's population, percent of the porn to the population of the planet. And I think pretty much all the sex toys, right? Unless they get some made in Taiwan for them. And then you got the UN there, where every language on the planet is spoken. Welcome to Babylon, right? Controlled by the Catholic Church, right? Who sits on many waters, right? The colors of purple and red, the royalty and the high hierarchy of the church. And the colors of the whore in the days of Jesus. Okay? All the little pieces. The third temple will be up soon, by the way. And I asked God about that too, and I know everything that they already got. And the one or two things they're going to be getting any day, unless they've already gotten them right now and haven't announced them yet. And that thing is ready to go up, and they can go up in a matter of days, because nobody's going to be allowed on the inside anyway. And they can finish the gold work after inside, right? But we know who's coming 42 months after. And we also know the lunar calendar has 13 months in their year, because there are 13 moons. So we can do the math. Yeah, but those with eyes to see. But remember, it's a world of diversity, and pay attention to your Bible, right? And there's always somebody that needs prayers. But it's one lady, thanks for praying us when nobody's thinking of all those thousands of people killed in the Philippines and the Asian area. And that last storm that went by was the strongest of the year. And if it had been called a hurricane, it would have been a Category 5. And they got more on the way. They're being battered as I speak. More torrential rains, right? Right now, that whole area. Just like the upper part of South America is all coming off Africa. England is getting it. All these areas are getting lots of flooding and mudslides and everything else. Well, Israel and the Middle East area is going through a 6-year drought. The Bible spoke of these things. Droughts and excessive rain are going to be causing the loss of crops and other things in many areas, right? A measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley. Well, a measure is a pound. So people, and a penny was a day's wages. As we see food prices climb in a world of GMOs, where they're putting stuff out there to kill the natural plants, and the bees and everything, the pollinators are gone, and you're going to rely on these people for food. They're even making fake meat. In a world of fake everything, what else would we expect but a fake Jesus coming next, right? Coming soon to a neighborhood near you, trying to say he's God. Well, don't buy it, right? Pay attention and read the living word. And you'll be there when Jesus comes, the real one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.